Hello and welcome to this class. We are on the first chapter of class 11 psychology course, and we are trying to understand in the first chapter what this field of psychology is all about. We have learned the definition of the word psychology or the field of psychology, how this field of psychology is defined generally. We have also learned the important perspectives which guide understanding of mental processes and behavior. So we have understood the various schools of psychology, and schools of psychology are nothing but various perspectives or approaches through which mental processes and behaviors can be understood. We have also understood the nature of psychology as a natural science as well as a social science. So we have had a lecture on this, that psychology is considered both a natural science and a social science because it borrows from both the natural scientific methods and from social sciences in general. So we have had one class on this. Today we will try to understand what are the different fields of psychology, or what are the different branches of psychology or areas of life in which psychology can be applied. So we'll understand about the various fields of psychology or the various applications of psychology. Before we go to the fields of psychology or the various areas in which psychological knowledge can be applied, let us first understand the important distinction between basic psychology and applied psychology. Basic psychology refers to that part of psychology which gives us basic theories and principles about behavior and mental processes. So, this part of psychology deals primarily with research, and this part of psychology tries to arrive at generalizations about behavior and mental processes. These generalizations about behavior and mental processes, or these principles of behavior and mental processes, are then applied in various fields of everyday life. This is what we understand by applied psychology. So, applied psychology is that part of psychology which provides us with different contexts or settings where psychological principles can be applied. So, basic psychology primarily concerns itself with deriving principles of behavior and mental processes. So, this is basic knowledge. This is the knowledge of psychological processes which is derived through research and formulation of theories. Applied psychology refers to that part of psychology which offers us various sites or various contexts or settings in which the knowledge which we acquire through pure basic psychology can be applied. Both basic psychology and applied psychology go hand in hand. They are not separate from each other. Basic psychology offers principles which can be applied in various areas, which then is called the applied psychology part. Applied psychology, on the other hand, provides us sites or settings where basic psychology needs to do research. So, basic psychology and applied psychology, they both feed on each other and they both contribute to the development of each other. Let us now go to the various fields of psychology which we want to understand through this lesson. In this lecture, we are trying to understand these fields of psychology, which are clinical psychology, counseling psychology, educational psychology, developmental psychology, organizational psychology, and social psychology. Let us take them up one by one. Clinical psychology is that field of psychology which concerns itself with diagnosis, treatment, causes, and prevention of psychological disorders. So, clinical psychology basically deals with psychological disorders. There are various kinds of psychological disorders. Some of them you must have heard, like depression. Depression is a very common disorder which we get to hear these days quite often. So, clinical psychology is that branch of psychology that deals with diagnosis, treatment, causes, and prevention of problems, mental problems, or psychological disorders such as depression. Clinical psychologists then specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of psychological disorders. Clinical psychologists rely upon interviews and psychological tests for assessment of psychological disorders. So there are certain psychological tests about which we'll be studying in class 12, which help clinical psychologists make assessment about the disorder with which a person comes to them. So a person might be suffering from a disorder, and there are certain psychological tests which help the clinician, the clinical psychologist, diagnose the problem correctly. So for diagnosis, to be able to label, to be able to diagnose the problem, the psychologist, the clinical psychologist, has to rely upon psychological tests which assess the problem, or which enable the clinician or the clinical psychologist to decipher which psychological disorder is the patient suffering from. So, using interviews and psychological tests, clinical psychologists are able to diagnose disorders which are of psychological nature. Clinical psychologists treat psychological disorders using psychological methods of treatment, generally called as psychotherapy. So, what clinical psychologists do is that they treat disorder. After diagnosis, there is the second step, which is the treatment of disorder. So treatment entails use of psychological methods, which is together, there are various methods through which psychological disorders can be treated. Together, all these methods are called as psychotherapy, or the therapy that helps us treat psychological disorders. Clinical psychologists work as private practitioners or work in hospitals, mental health institutions, or non government agencies. So, clinical psychologists can have their own clinics, or they can work with hospitals or other mental health care centers where they diagnose and treat people with mental disorders. Apart from diagnosis, treatment, and trying to decipher causes of psychological disorders, clinical psychologists also try to spread awareness in the community among people about the psychological disorders. So, the assumption is that if you make people aware of certain things, they are better equipped to handle problems when they surface or whenever they come up. So, awareness leads to prevention. So, clinical psychologists also contribute their bit. Apart from diagnosis and treatment of mental disorders, they can also contribute to the society through spreading awareness about psychological disorders and the ways to prevent psychological disorders. One very important differentiation which we need to understand at this stage is that clinical psychologists are not psychiatrists. This is a commonly held confusion or a misconception that clinical psychologists and psychiatrists are same. No, psychiatry and clinical psychology are two different fields and they require different qualification. Psychiatry is the field of medicine which deals with treatment of psychological disorders through the use of drugs, whereas clinical psychology is the field of psychology which deals with treatment of psychological disorders using psychotherapy. So the basic difference between psychiatry and clinical psychology is that psychiatry, they both treat psychological disorders, but psychiatry treats psychological disorders through the use of medicines or drugs. Clinical psychologists, on the other hand, treat mental disorders or psychological disorders using therapy, which is called as psychotherapy. This is one major difference. Now, coming to the qualification of psychiatrists and clinical psychologists, a person becomes a psychiatrist when a person does, after MBBS, does MD in psychiatry. So, MD is a specialization which MBBS doctors go for after they complete their medical graduation in medicine, which is the MBBS. So once you have done your MBBS, you go for MD in psychiatry, and that is how you become a psychiatrist. Whereas one becomes a clinical psychologist by studying psychology at the graduation level, then at the post-graduation level. If you specialize in clinical psychology in your post-graduation, there are certain specialized courses which you do in your post-graduation after you have done your graduation in psychology. These specialized courses qualify you as a clinical psychologist. One also becomes a clinical psychologist by pursuing PhD in clinical psychology. So, in order to become a clinical psychologist, you need not have a background in medicine, you need not be a medical doctor or a physician. All you need to do is that you need to pursue psychology as your subject in your graduation as well as in your post graduation. And if you need to become a clinical psychologist, go for a post graduation degree which certifies you as a clinical psychologist. If not, you can also do your doctorate, that is PhD degree in clinical psychology, and that is how you become a clinical psychologist. Also, there are certain institutions in India which, after you have done your post graduation in psychology, give you a chance to study clinical psychology at the MPhil level, which is before the PhD level, and they give you a degree of MPhil in clinical psychology, which also makes you a clinical psychologist. So, clinical psychology and psychiatry are two very different fields. They both deal with diagnosis and treatment of psychological disorders, but they both are different routes to treatment. Psychiatry treats with drugs. Clinical psychology, on the other hand, treats psychological disorders through psychotherapy or therapy involving psychological processes. So, that is all about the distinction between clinical psychologists and psychiatrists, which is a very commonly held misconception among people. Counseling psychology is another field of psychology which deals with assisting people in coping with personal problems which do not involve mental disorders. So, counseling psychologists are people who deal with psychological problems which are not as severe as the problems which are dealt with by clinical psychologists. So, when people are faced with day to day problems which are not mental disorders, which are not psychological disorders, which are day to day problems, for example, difficulty in choosing the choice of your career, or a child having difficulty in a new school. So these are day to day life problems. These are not mental disorders. So they do not need clinical psychologists. Such day to day life problems, which are of not a severe nature, are solved with the help of counseling psychologists. So, counseling psychology is that branch of psychology that helps people overcome the day to day hurdles or day to day problems of life. Counseling psychologists specialize in assisting people overcome their everyday life problems, which are not serious in nature. They also deal with problems related to adjustment or career related problems. So, these are day to day life problems, very normal kind of problems which all of us face at some point or other in our lives. Counseling psychologists may work as private practitioners, they have their own clinic, or they may work with colleges, universities, mental health care centers, schools. In fact, there is a regulation given by a central board of secondary education that every school needs to have a counselor, because there are children who have lots of problems which are of a very basic nature, which are of a very mild nature, which can be solved by the counselor. Counseling psychologists can also help spread awareness about mental health issues. So, counseling psychologists play a major role whenever they are placed in settings like school or colleges. They have a major role in spreading awareness about mental health or the ways to improve one's mental health. The examples of counseling psychologists work in the everyday life is like helping children with making career choices that match with their interest and personality characteristics. So generally what happens is that when we make career choices, we make career choice based on what others are doing or based on what others are telling us to do. Our parents, our well wishers, they tell us to choose certain streams and certain disciplines which, according to them, may help us gain a good future. But sometimes what happens is that we tend to listen to what others say, but the fact is that our own personality, our own interest does not match with what we have chosen for us as a career. So that is where problems start to happen. This is where a counselor, a career counselor, can step in and help people choose careers according to their personality characteristics, according to their interests and abilities. We will be studying about personality characteristics, interest, and ability in class 12 in great detail. Let us now go to the next field of psychology. Educational psychology is another important branch of psychology that deals with all aspects of education, such as instructional methods, teacher effectiveness, teacher training, or problems related to learning. So, educational psychology is that branch of psychology that studies the processes involved in the educational setup. So, all the processes which are involved with education, which involves both teaching and learning. So, educational psychologists are specialists in education wherein they have a knowledge about all that makes teaching effective and all that makes learning effective on the part of the learner. So, all those processes which facilitate teaching as well as learning are the focus of educational psychologists. Educational psychologists possess a good understanding of both the fields, education and child development. So, educational psychologists are primarily interested in trying to facilitate the environment in the educational setup. So, they have a good understanding about what education, what is the purpose of education, and what is understood as good education, and what are the factors that lead to good education. So they are specialists in knowing this, and they are specialists in applying psychological knowledge in the field of education. They have a good knowledge of child development, and that helps them plan things which are according to the mental level of the child. So when your books are written by good boards, what they do is that they take your mental level into consideration, and they plan the syllabus as well as textbooks keeping into consideration the mental level of the learner. So this is what educational psychology tries to achieve. They try to achieve an environment where the best of teaching and learning can happen. Educational psychologists deal with theoretical and practical issues related to effectiveness of teaching and learning process. So they are specialists in theory and practice of effectiveness of teaching and learning. Okay, and they can also help people in spreading awareness around teaching methods and learning disabilities. Especially when it comes to a school situation or a school setup, there are certain children who find it difficult to learn. So they are the children who are suffering from some kind of a learning disability. We call it a learning disability. We will study about learning disabilities when we will do the chapter on learning. Then we'll also understand what we mean by learning disabilities and what are the different kinds of learning disabilities from which students at the school level generally suffer. Educational psychologists help people become aware of learning disabilities such as dyslexia. You must have heard about dyslexia. There was a good movie by Amir Khan which was called Tare Zameen Par. So Tare Zameen Par is a movie on dyslexia, which is one of the learning disabilities, which is a kind of learning disability. Educational psychologists primarily work on problems such as learning disabilities. They also work on appropriate methods of teaching students to enhance their learning. So they work on things like arranging workshops for teacher effectiveness, teacher training workshops, helping teachers evolve methods which are more friendly for the students, which enable the students grasp the subject easily and in a more effective manner. Educational psychologists also play a very important role in training teachers to deal with children who are suffering with learning disabilities at the school level. Learning disabilities are very common in school situations. So, this is when children find it difficult to learn not because they are not intelligent, but because they have specific learning disabilities. So educational psychologists also play a role in training teachers on how to handle children with or students with learning disability. So let us now go to the next field of psychology, which is developmental psychology. So, developmental psychology deals with the study of social, physical, and psychological changes during different stages of life of an individual, starting from conception to old age. So, developmental psychology studies the various changes which take place in a human being right from conception till old age in different spheres: the physical development of the person, the social development, and the psychological development. So, these are the three areas in which developmental psychologists try to study individuals' development right from conception till old age. We'll be studying about developmental psychology in detail when we'll go to class 12. There is a whole chapter on developmental psychology where we'll be looking at various stages of life, and within each stage we'll be looking at physical, social, and cognitive or the intellectual development of human beings. So, developmental psychologists specialize in the study of physical development, cognitive development. Cognitive development refers to the development of knowledge or development of thinking, and socio-emotional development. Socio-emotional development refers to the development of social relations and the relational aspect of human beings. So, socio emotional development refers to the growth of social relationships in the life of an individual, right from infancy till old age. How people change in their relationship with others, that is what we study in socio emotional development. These are the primary areas, three primary areas in which developmental psychologists try to understand a human being right from conception till old age. Developmental psychologists also study the influence of hereditary, environmental, and socio-cultural factors on the development of psychological characteristics. So, it is believed that human beings develop or change from infancy, from being a newborn child to till they achieve old age. They develop in their social, emotional, cognitive, and physical domains because of the influence of heredity, that is their biology, because of the influence of environment, that is the external conditions in which the human being lives, and also because of the socio-cultural factors or the kind of social relationships and the kind of cultural environment the person gets. So, how a person develops physically, emotionally, and cognitively or thinking wise as a result of the influence of biology or heredity, environment, and socio-cultural factors is what the developmental psychologists study. We'll be studying about developmental psychology in detail when we go to class 12. Social psychology is another branch of psychology that deals with the behavior and mental processes in social situations. So, social psychologists are primarily interested in knowing the influence of social environment on individuals' behavior. How society or social environment influences a person's behavior is what social psychology studies. Social psychologists focus on the study of processes such as attitudes, aggression, intergroup relations, conformity, obedience, altruism, etc. So they study processes. These are the psychological processes or mental processes in social settings, such as attitudes or our opinions about events or people or things, aggression, the practical side of anger. You know, when you feel anger, you act aggressively. So that is the behavioral aspect of the feeling called anger. When there is a feeling which is called anger, and there is a behavioral response to anger. You know, there is a behavioral component to anger which is called aggression. So when you feel angry, that is what you feel inside. And when you slam the door, that is what is aggression. Or when you slap another child, that is what is aggression. Or when you shout at someone, that is what we understand as aggression. So anger is a feeling, aggression is a behavior. Intergroup relations refers to relations between groups. So these are the kinds of processes which are processes operating in a human mind when the mind comes in contact with other people. So aggression, attitude, intergroup relations, they all operate or they all come into existence when a human being interacts with others. So social psychology studies the mental processes in social settings. Coming to organizational psychology, this is that branch of psychology that deals with the study of workplace behavior. So the workplace, that is another context, that is a setting. So psychologists who study mental processes or behaviors in a setting called workplace are known as organizational psychologists. Organizational psychologists primarily focus on maximizing the output of an organization. The main purpose of organizational psychologists is to enhance the output of an organization. So they are primarily working in the organization to increase the output of the organization. They study mental processes and behaviors of both the employees and the employer in an organization. For an organization to have a high output, both the employer and the employee needs to be understood. So there has to be an understanding of what are the factors, what are the employee factors which lead to high output of an organization, and what are the employer factors which lead to high output. So both these employees and the employers are the focus of study of organizational psychologists. Organizational psychologists study topics such as employee motivation, job satisfaction, role of incentives, leadership, and organizational culture. So employee motivation, job satisfaction, these are the characteristics of employees which lead them to perform good. If an employee is having a high job motivation or high job satisfaction, then that employee is an efficient employee, is an effective employee. That employee brings up the output of the organization. On the other hand, if an employee is demotivated, doesn't want to work, doesn't want to do anything new or original, then the output of the organization comes down. So high motivation, high job motivation, high job satisfaction, they all lead to high organizational output. We'll be studying about organizational psychology in detail later on when we go to class 12. Before we finish this lecture, let me tell you that each of the fields of psychology that we have studied in this lecture have both the applied and the basic aspect of psychology. So we had initially started with basic psychology and applied psychology. Let us remember that each of these fields has a basic aspect as well as an applied aspect. So each of these fields has a basic psychology which deals with trying to arrive at principles of human behavior and mental processes through research and study. And each of these fields also has an applied aspect where the principles arrived through the basic psychology part can be applied. So each of the fields have both a basic and an applied aspect. That is all for today's lecture. Happy learning.